begin with Akbar's policy of expansion, his conquest in North India and South India. To begin with, it was the second battle of Panipat. The first battle of Panipat was fought between Babur and Ibrahim Lodi, the first time Mughal Empire started to establish in India. The second battle of Panipat is again very important. This battle was between Akbar and Hemu. Now Hemu was a Hindu serving the Afghan rulers at that time and later became the chief minister of Adil Shah. Now Hemu, under his strong forces, united to fight with Akbar. Since Akbar was only 14 years at this time, Akbar was under the guardianship of Behram Khan. Initially, Hemu was able to occupy most of the Delhi, but with the guidance of Behram Khan, Afghan rule and the Afghan power was destroyed. Mughal Empire came to power, and later, after the victory of the second battle of Panipat, when Akbar had won, Akbar decided to dismiss Behram Khan, and finally by 1560 Akbar himself came to throne. In 1561 he marched to the regions of Malwa. The forces were under Adam Khan. Now in Malwa at that time was Baz Bahadur, and when Akbar's forces under Adam Khan invaded the region of Malwa in central India, Baz Bahadur fled away. So 1561 marked the time of expansion by Akbar on his own, since in 1560 he dismissed Behram Khan, and after that Akbar started to have his own policies for conquest. Next, from Malwa he moved to Garh Katanga. Now Garh Katanga is the present region where you have the Gond dynasty, and Rani Durgawati of Gond dynasty fought very bravely with the forces of Akbar. Now in 1564, when Rani Durgawati was defeated, she stabbed to death by herself, and she did not accept death by others. So that was how the story of Garh Katanga flows, and Garh Katanga was another major region which was occupied by Akbar during that time. The next to Garh Katanga was the invasion to another region of Chittor. Now Chittor was in 1568. In 1568, Rana of Mewar refused to accept and submit himself to Akbar. Akbar in return marched to the regions of Chittor and started to capture. So Chittor was the first region that was captured, and then the forces moved to Kalinjar. Now Kalinjar was occupied in 1569. So year after year it was new territories becoming part of Akbar's empire. Next to Kalinjar was his march to two regions. The most important was by 1570s most of the Rajputs subdued themselves to the policies of Akbar, and Akbar got the control of most of the Rajputana regions. Then in 1573, Gujarat was also occupied. So Gujarat was occupied, and then we had the Rana Pratap's battle at Haldighati. So Haldighati became another important center. Now when Gujarat and Ranthambore was occupied in 73, as we said, most of the Rajput regions were occupied. But in 1576, Haldighati battle had its own importance. Why? Because Rana Pratap was defeated in the Battle of Haldighati. However, he did not submit to Akbar. He left, and later he reoccupied most of the region except the region of Chittor. In 1576, Akbar also sent the army where? Akbar sent the army to fight with Daud Khan, and Daud Khan was located where? He was located in West Bengal. So the region, he was the Sultan of West Bengal, and to fight with the Sultan of West Bengal, the forces of Akbar came to power. Now, since most of the central India and the western parts of India were occupied and under the territory of Akbar, Akbar now had eyes on the northwest frontier. So he started with occupying the northwest. So in 1581, he occupied the regions of Afghanistan, followed by which 1586 he occupied Kashmir. Next to Kashmir, he occupied Sindh in 1591. Then he occupied Baluchistan in 1595. So that was the series how he moved. Now, in between this, when he occupied Sindh and he was occupying Baluchistan as well, there was another target towards the east, and that was the region of Odisha. In 1592, Odisha was annexed, and finally the years from 1598 to 1601, or we can say 1602, saw the period of annexation of the territories in relatively the South India, which was the Deccan part, and Ahmednagar, which was under Chand Bibi, was occupied in 1600. In 1601, Khandesh was occupied, and in Khandesh, the fort of Asirgarh was the main target, and also Berar. So three important regions in South India were part of his territories. Those were, I repeat again, Ahmednagar, Khandesh and Berar. So those are the areas, as you can see in this map, how sequentially he occupied region after region. The interesting story here is Rajputs were known for their bravery, and it was very difficult to defeat Rajput. So Akbar followed a policy of alliance, matrimonial alliance with the Rajput kingdoms in many cases, and this led to his overlordship in the regions of Rajputana and the Rajput dynasties. So that is how the Akbar's policy of expansion moved forward.